Welcome back, Dr. Asha. Would you like to give some input on that because you're directly
About
involved?
students, yes, absolutely. On our campus, there have been situations where foreign students have been stuck in a complete. It's tough for them anyway because they're paying so much in fees when compared to
we know
home
that,
students.
but let's twist the question. What will you do if you become in the government?
That's exactly why I've come into politics, actually, interestingly, because working in that, I see higher education is being dismantled. We've taken on board this whole let's turn it into a business, and it's suffering from a very similar situation as the NHS, where inside we're just carving it up and it's all turned into bums on seats equals lots of money. So is it going to turn into a situation where we'll be taking foreign students' money and it'll go against home students? So particularly in courses like medicine where I teach, I'm seeing a huge increase in foreign students coming to do that. So that is a huge problem. And something that we hold very, very dear is our higher education university system is best in the world. And now I suspect it's not going to stay there because it's being eroded away. Pretty much like in the NHS where we're being eroded away.
Right. Nagpal, you want to, Councillor Nagpal, you want to put?
I just want to say that on the questions that you've raised are interrelated, and your point about the driving license and how if you're applying for a job and you're from Bulgaria or
Eastern Europe.
The thing is, any country that's in the EU in particular. When you're applying for a job, it's very different because, you know, any ID that you give is going to be treated differently to if you're outside of the EU. It's because we're in the EU, really. But I would say outside, I would say outside of the EU, if you're a skilled person, you come here, you're very welcome. And the Labour Party really promotes that. We welcome skilled people who come from outside the EU and come here to work.
No, but there is no work for the skilled person who came from outside of EU.
No,
and
you're
non-skilled person who came from the EU, they have the plenty of jobs for them.
No, you are wrong. There are plenty of jobs for people who are outside from India, Pakistan, from outside the EU who come here to work. How many doctors do we have in our hospitals who come from India, who come from Pakistan? We've got so many doctors and they're here because we welcome them.
But we don't need doctor from outside of UK. We need doctor from UK students.
Well, I'm really pleased. The Labour Party telling the electorate there's no job, there's nothing. You just heard the Labour Party say there's plenty of jobs. So well done to the coalition for creating those jobs. And thank you for complimenting us. And the other thing I was going to say was...
complimenting you,
well,
sir.
you just have. So either you have or you haven't. You know, make your mind up. Right, on your driving license point, I'll give you the point. If you're from Pakistan, India, the Commonwealth, you have a driving license. Bring it over. You can actually make it an international license. You could drive in this country, I believe.
That is different topic. On that driving license, you can't take a job in this country. That driving license is valid for 6 months as a visitor. You can't take the job, even you can't take insurance on driving license.
Well,
it's
okay,
my personal
let's
experience.
start the journal, not the...
And the other thing about the EC IDs, when you talk about job, is what happens is that because EC is close and the laws are interrelated, interconnected, it's much more easier to validate the ID and check on it. While it's much more difficult if you're in Commonwealth or outside. So it's simple logistics someone as a director of a company, as an employer. You know, I don't prejudice against someone's in the EC or out of EC. I want the best person to do the job. And sorry, I forgot your question. What was your question, sir?
I was just saying, it's just not about the numbers, but there isn't any solid plans.
Absolutely agree with you. For far too long, the two main parties have played the numbers game, and have played immigrant against immigrant. It's not about immigration. This country has benefited. You now had the NHS, the transport system, the health service, all of these things. And now we talked about the East European immigrants we was talking about. What you got to understand is, and I'm not just saying under both governments, Labour and Tory, and it started under Thatcher. When we started...
And you?
No, let me just... I will answer your question if you allow me to. What happens is that we never invested in apprenticeship. Apprenticeship was stopped under the Thatcher government. And the Labour never continued and overturned. So we had now skilled bricklayers, plumbers, people like that. When we needed more schools, we needed more homes, we didn't have the people to do their job. So now we have these students doing it. But we have also started that program and put 2.5 million apprenticeships in. So we will have our own skilled labour force to build our own schools, our own hospitals, our own nurses, our own doctors.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, what's your...
The point you're making about skilled professional coming into the UK, it is true, and the point about what you just said, I was during the Indian elections, they now have a biometric system where there's a clear identity checks, and you saw compared to the UK, even with the numbers of people, they managed to get the results out so quick. So the issue with non-EU is that really more about identity. And once we put in the IT system in, similar to the ones that we have now in India, that biometric system will come in, and you can then get a much more clear. So this issue about jobs will become part of it. And part of that, the Conservative Party is the only party has mentioned India. In the manifesto, the two parties have got BMEs and manifesto, but has not mentioned Pakistan, India. In that, we have mentioned very clear, one, India is a global power. It is the fastest growing economy. It needs to have a permanent seat on the United Nations. The second is that India should have free trade with Europe, the whole of Europe.
Okay, that's your saying,
this will help,
but Mr. Patel, how much opposition you've received on the permanent seat in the UN? How much opposition you have received?
We haven't received.
From the world?
No, Pakistan is against you on the Kashmir issue.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to solve the first Kashmir issue.
That debate.
Yeah.
That's not the
yes.
that
Human rights violation in the Kashmir.
Yeah, we will do another program on that one. Let's focus on the election, forthcoming election. Ms. Nagpal, we are nearly finishing the program.
I would like to say that there's one really important topic that hasn't been covered yet, and that's education and what is actually happening here, not sort of people coming from other countries, etc., but what's actually happening here. And the Labour Party is going to reduce tuition fees to £6,000. The Coalition put them up to £9,000. And that means a lot of people now who want to go to university can't afford to go to university. So the Labour Party is going to put them down to £6,000. And I would urge all of those young people who went out and voted for the Liberal Democrats last time, thinking they're going to put, they're not going to let tuition fees go up. And now they are so disheartened. I would urge them, vote for Labour. If you really want that future that you dream about, you want to go to university, you want to do well, vote for Labour, because we're going to reduce your tuition fees.
Now we have one question about the education from the panelists. Each quick one. We are running short of time.
Yes, on the education. Yes, on the education. What you think? If you introduce free education, it is not good for this country, because if one person has got 4 children and you say you are going to reduce 9 to 6,000 pounds, from where he will bring 24,000 for 4 children
free
a year.
Education.
Free education is better. Yeah.
Okay, well, one liner, Mr. Mahmood, you will support the free education?
Well, that was part of our first member. But let's remember, we're just going to let's start at nursery, primary, secondary education, and university work throughout. And education has to be from the. Well, that was part of our manifesto. We tried it. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough seats. We wasn't able to carry it. But sorry, just a quick point. Bear in mind, students, don't forget, it was the Labour Party that brought tuition fees, and
you are in
3 times they promised it,
yes?
and they put them up. So they are a bit of hypocrites.
Mr. Mahmood, Mr. Patel, will you support the free education?
If we have, as we have said before, if we have a strong economy, there will be.
So you are not in support of free education.
We cannot.
You can, sir. You can make your economy strong if you don't send your troops to the other countries, and you can save that money, and you can spend that money on the children's. Yes, that is our money. That is our tax money.
And you spend on the wars.
But we cannot pledge if we don't have a strong.
Billions of pounds.
You are not in favor of free education.
Yes, you can save billions of the pounds.
Let's ask the Labour Party. Yes, you are in the favor of free education.
I would say, look, as Ed Miliband says, we would rather under-promise and over-deliver, because last time the Liberal Democrats promised something and they let everybody down. So at least we're saying we'd rather under-promise and over-deliver. Look, I don't disagree with what you're saying about free education, but at the end of the day, we are in a situation where we have a deficit. We've got a coalition who've borrowed way more than Labour ever borrowed while they were in power. So, we're in a situation where we can't give that education for free, higher education for free. But it's a nice idea, and I'm sure in future, as the economy improves, we might be there.
Sorry, you say you don't understand about the free education. Free education means then you don't need to import doctors from other country, you don't need to import nurses from the other country. Okay. You will have your own children, doctor, engineer, school teachers. This means the free education.
Respond on that issue. Very good question.
We've actually, part of our health manifesto has been to train up more doctors, more nurses. So there will be those increased numbers of places at higher education to sort that out. I was very lucky to have a free education, and I'm hugely grateful to this country for that. I would wish that for every single person in this country to have the same that I had. As my colleague said, we're not in the situation to make absolutely rock solid commitment to that at the moment, but I look forward to the day when we are able to turn around and say, yes, there should be free education and free health for everybody, because that's the socialist ideal that we live up to.
And thank you very much. It means you're in the favor of free education. Thank you very much.
Quickly.
Yep. So you have answered about the free education anyway. So my question is related to, in different boroughs and primary schools, it's different policies. I can understand you will say it's borough's policy, but the people from the other borough, they feel this thing. Some boroughs, they offer free school lunch for everybody, not the people on the benefit, but the other boroughs, they don't. So that's number one. And the number two, I have seen, it will be for all the parties here. They've been ruling the country for the last, so many years.
Okay.
I was looking at the websites of different boroughs. I come across in London, I think it was about education. The people they were educated was I think about 50% or 57% that was coming up.
Okay.
The people in London.
Why is not a uniform policy, the lunch policy? Why some boroughs give free? Why you have to pay sometimes?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's an excellent question. The way we can make it for central government to take a hand on this, and the Liberal Democrats are the primary who have taken hand, and now it's free lunch for primary age children.
Thank you.
You answered the question.
Tory party, why there is no uniform policy?
Well, there's already in coalition we have given free lunches and in nursery and primary already.
Okay, Labour Party. Then I have to take the other question.
I'm mindful. I think this election is the battle of ideologies. On one side, you got a party which is saying a stronger economy.
Okay.
They keep on beating the drum of stronger economy. This is the 5th wealthiest country in the world. And in the wealthiest country in the world, if we are still struggling with the basic issues, we need to see which party will serve the interests of the working families.
Thank you. Mr. Javed,
and its wider
only 1 minute
population.
left. Please, 30-second question, quickly, straight question.
It's like, you keep saying about the education and standards. But if you look at, I think a couple of months before, the universities have said that they are struggling with their, money, and that's why they have to encourage people to pay their tuition fee. But they what plans you have, especially for the higher education. That's why we have more brain drainages from country.
It's an excellent question, and you have respect right. But what you may forget, I can tell you, university, more people got to university now than did under the Labour Party, under the coalition.
Right.
So this thing about it's an anomaly, it's just electionary, just scaring. Martin Luther King said we have a dream, not a nightmare.
Mr. Take quick, please. One liner.
Until the economy is strong, we cannot look at funding any sort of public services so that so it works for everyone.
Thank you. Quick one, Dr.
The two legs of the Labour Party are basically education and the NHS. And those are two things that we feel very, very strongly for. So if you want both those things, you need to be voting Labour on Thursday.
Let's hope. अच्छा ये हमारे पास सादिया मिर्ज़ा हैं, इनके पास एक मैसेज है, कुछ आप क्या कहना चाहती हैं?
मैं बस यही कहना चाहती हूँ कि मेरा इन्वॉल्वमेंट पॉलिटिक्स के साथ थोड़ी देर के लिए रहा है, और मेरे एक्सपीरियंस में सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ है कि जो मैंने सीखा है कि अपने लोग जो हैं वो इतना वोट नहीं करते, और मैं बस यही मैसेज छोड़ना चाहती हूँ कि आप प्लीज़ वोट करें, वोट वेस्ट ना करें, तो ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट मैसेज है. आपने सबकी पॉलिसीज सुन ली हैं, आप सुने, समझे और वोट करें. थैंक यू.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. You came, and we see how the election will go on Thursday, and we should hope that whatever the result will be good for this country, for the people, and for the future of this country. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye bye.